Hiya. Today I was thinking about making a wee video just to see how cheaply it would be to start welding. If, like myself, you've got an old car or a car that's failed its MOT, or you just want to try welding, as loads of people do. It's kind of like that. I know well, not a great welder. I can weld a bit. Practice, they're getting better all the time. I'll put a few photos up just after this bit, some bits that I've actually welded on my car. I've made, so far, you've seen the exhaust, that was in a previous video. I've also got a few pictures of bits and bobs I've welded about the car. I repaired the boot, big holes in there, so it was just a case of battering on and doing it, trying it. I think my entire setup cost me less than £100 for me to go welding, to start welding anyway, and then after that, everything else has been added on and added on. I'm just at the point where I've upgraded my welder to one that I found, check the video, and it's not so much that it's an upgrade, it's got I put a far longer cable on it, so I'm not needing to keep moving it so much and things like that. But I'll show you the wee welder I got, and they're just down here. First thing you need to start welding would be a welder. Now, this one here, Hitbox Pure Power, right? It's actually been alright. I got this one from eBay. I think it cost me £78. It might even been less. It did come with other options where I could upgrade. It came with this one's a MIG, a gasless MIG, so it came with the MIG trigger and things like that, and it also came with, I can pull this out and make it into an arc welder. I never have, never will. I've got arc welders are 10 a penny, so why would I? I also had the option of paying £130 total, and I could have had the bit to make it into a TIG welder. But then there was also additional things you had to buy, you had to watch, because there was a bit for gas, and it could have become much more expensive. And if I'm going to buy a TIG welder, I'll buy a TIG welder. This is a MIG welder, which stands for metal inert gas, and it's just for welding thin car bodies, etc. Right, well, that's what I use it for. The only modification I made on this, it came with a clamp, and I changed it to a magnet. And what I do with the magnet is clean up a bit under the car, stick that on, and that way I get my earth bond. It saves me having to find somewhere underneath. You've got to clean up where you're welding anyway, so you've already done that, and it becomes so much easier than trying to clean a bit to get an earth. And I can put that earth right next to where I want to weld to get maximum power. So this one here, it's a single speed. You can't change the speed that the wire comes out. The wire in here that I use, I've been buying that for Lidl's or Aldi, £4 a roll, 1mm stuff, works totally fine. And I've been using that for all my wee projects. So aye, that's this one. The other thing you would definitely need if you're going to start welding would be angle grinders. Now, here's an angle grinder I bought, both really cheap. This is a battery angle grinder. This one came from Aldi. I wouldn't recommend them. I've burnt 3 of them out this year, but the actual case bit only cost me £14, the entire thing. You've got to buy the battery and the charger separately, and I think it came to about £50 for the first one, but let's say I've got a couple of these, burn them out, fling them away. £14, buy another one, you know, especially when I'm up here at this garage, we've got no power, so it works good here. Disadvantage with it, battery doesn't last very long. Last week I went to cut a bit out my car and it ran out before I even finished. So normally when I'm near home I use this one. These came from eBay. I bought a couple of them £18 each, and they can do just about everything. I've taken the safety guard off. Here's the safety guard on this one. I've taken that off and made it into what people refer to as a deaf wheel. But I find I get so much more control, and it's, as long as you're careful with it, it's totally fine. I didn't tell you that. There's what you want. A mistake I made at the very start when I first tried it was trying to use an arc welder, which this one is, for doing the car body repairs, thinking that it would be good. All I did was burn holes in it. It's good for, this one's good for fences and thick kind of stuff, but for car bodies and light metals and things like that, I was just burning holes in them. I was blowing out holes. I'd get a bit done, I'd start thinking, yeah, I'm on top of this, and next thing I'd blow a hole through it again, and then that takes so much more patching. So good. You can pick this one up for, this is a Lidl's one. Well, actually, once again, I found this one, and this one works perfectly, and I think you can pick these up for roughly about £40. As I say, only really good for solid heavy pieces of metal, but they're alright. Arc, called an arc because arcs the electricity arcs through it, basically causes a short, which melts the metal rods and fills it. So there you are, welding under £100. I'll put the links up after this. What I would say is that I have saved a fortune in doing it myself. There's a lot more pleasure as well, knowing that you're building the car yourself. It doesn't have to be the car. This doesn't look right. I look like I'm looking at there. Oh, hello. Right. But so I probably saved myself hundreds of pounds. First thing I got welded on the car was a spring hanger at the back. I supplied all this stuff and it cost me £500. I did the second one myself. It took me a couple of nights, but I managed it. Cost me £20 odd. So there's definitely a saving. It's worth buying the welder, getting a crack at it. What I would say is my first welds were, what I did was I'd hold it up into place, and then once I would, this doesn't look like, I look like I'm looking away there. Oh, hello. Right. And right, so the first welds I did were terrible, but what I did was I tack welded everything into place, going right around it nice and slowly, so I didn't cause any issues, any fires or that kind of stuff. And then I just continued to do tack welds round about, then just joined small welds up. Then I ran at it with the angle grinder with the flap wheel, tidied the welds up a bit, and looked at it, and then I looked at it and thought, right, okay, that bit could use a bit more weld. That was it. It was really easy to do. Not a great deal of skill involved in what I was doing. Now I'm getting better and I can do a bit of seam welding and things, but to start with, the tack welding worked, so definitely it's worth giving it a try. I've no really, I meant to have a car video this week, fixing the car. I had big plans. I was going to be doing suspension and everything, but we've been in a yellow weather warning and I didn't have the facilities to do outside or within the garage what I was going to do, but that will be coming up just shortly.